Coming to you from the Lydia Media Studios in the heart of Lewiston, Auburn, it's Lydia's Lunch Bunch, LA's afternoon morning show with Mark, Sarah, and Pam. We're covering news and events in the greater LA area and talking to the people making a difference in our community. Give us a listen at lydiamediallc.com or wherever you get your podcasts. And feel free to share your comments, questions, or suggestions via email at podcast@lydiamediallc.com.
Like this question from Tammy in Sabatis. Tammy, it's been one day since Mark forgot to hit record. Thank you so much for asking. He appreciates your understanding and respecting his privacy at this time.
Yeah.
And today's show is brought to you by United Piping, serving residential and commercial customers with new installations and repairs. You can call today and schedule your oil and gas boiler cleanings at 754-4556. UPI,
The best plumbers around.
Also brought to you by Ruper's Beverage and Redemption. When it comes to beer, wine, and spirits, don't botch it, squatch it.
Squatch it.
At 5 locations in Lewiston, Auburn, and Oxford. Learn more at rupersbeverage.com. And remember, the party starts at Ruper's.
We have the pleasure of being joined in studio by the president and CEO of the Lewiston Auburn Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce, Shanna Cox.
Morning.
How are you?
Afternoon.
Afternoon.
Good day.
Good evening.
Good day.
Good day.
Good day, mate.
I said good
Cheers.
day.
Pip, pip, cheerio.
Pleasure to be here again.
We're going to talk to Shanna all about chamber happenings and a whole lot more coming up in just a bit. But before we get there, let's take a look at some headlines for Tuesday, April 8th.
Maine Attorney General Aaron Frey is suing the Trump administration for withholding U.S. Department of Agriculture funds being used to feed children and disabled adults. He is also seeking a temporary restraining order preventing the USDA from withholding funds while the court hears the matter.
The Sun Journal reports that an effort to establish the LA Community Market was given a 6-month extension. The cooperative grocery store aims to open the building occupied by the Lewiston Police Department. Organizers won't be able to analyze the building condition and possible redevelopment until the police department moves to its new location next month.
Multiple bills in the Maine State House could change the way the state selects constitutional officers like Secretary of State and Attorney General. Lead sponsor Billy Bob Falkingham said Maine would end up with a more diverse and representative state government if voters make the choices. Maine is one of only a few U.S. states where the legislature appoints constitutional officers and state auditors.
And Auburn Parking Enforcement Officer Josh Perkins was named Civilian of the First Quarter 2025. Josh is described as someone who embodies the department's core values and has shown through his attitude and actions that he is a true team player.
You want to talk about the weather?
Do we want to?
Weather!
Do we have to? Snow begins around 1 p.m. today and will last into the early evening. 1 to 2 inches is expected. We'll have a high of 40 and a low of 27. Sunny tomorrow with a high of 41 and a low of 24. Partly sunny on Thursday with highs approaching 50.
In sports, the Red Sox lost to the Toronto Blue Jays 6-2. They'll play again tonight at 6:45 in Boston.
The Bruins visit the New Jersey Devils tonight at 7.
No one cares.
No one.
The Celtics visit the New York Knicks tonight at 7:30.
And the Maine Nordiques playoff run begins this weekend at the Colisee. The Nords will face off against the stinking New Hampshire Mountain Kings in a best-of-3 series on Friday at 7:30, Saturday at 7, and, if necessary, Sunday at 3.
Won't be necessary.
We're going to sweep them. Sweep them out the Colisee.
So excited for those boys.
That is your news, weather, and sports. And right now it is time for the podcast segment that is Sweeping! Yeah, the Twin Cities.
I was gonna say.
It's time for famous people birthdays.
That was a good sweeping note.
It
That
was.
was a good sweep.
Well, it was just the two of you, so that's why it sounded melodious and beautiful. Once you throw my monkey wrench in there, it's not good.
They're famous. It's their birthdays. It's famous people birthdays. It's famous people birthdays.
Let's take a look at FPBs for April the 8th, shall we?
Sure.
All right.
Okay.
We're going to start off with Patricia Arquette, 57 years old today. She made her feature film debut as Kristen Parker in A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors.
I loved those movies. I'm sure I saw it,
Yeah.
but I don't remember.
Yeah.
How many of those were there?
I think 16.
There's so many. Yeah.
I love that she embraces aging naturally, and that is unusual for women in Hollywood. So keep killing it.
Could we add Robin Wright to our FPBs today? Robin Wright is 59 today. Isn't she from The Princess Bride?
Yeah.
Yeah, Robin Wright Penn for a little while, but now just Robin Wright. She's done a lot of other movies too. She was in Forrest Gump.
Oh, cool. Was she Jenny?
She was
Jenny.
Jenny.
She was Jenny?
She was Jenny.
All right. Well, happy birthday, Robin.
Yeah.
Actor Dean Norris is 62 years old today. You remember him as Hank Schrader on Breaking Bad.
He seems to have a very varied repertoire of films, from Lethal Weapon to Little Miss Sunshine and Evan Almighty. Like he's done a lot of Terminator 2, Judgment Day. He's been in all kinds of crazy good movies. Starship Troopers.
Scary stories to tell in the dark. That must have been amazing.
Yeah, I guess I need to Google his face because I can't picture who he is. But
Yeah, Google his face.
but he's
You'll recognize him as soon as you do.
but he's been
Yeah.
in so many movies that I must have.
Singer Julian Lennon is 62 years old today. He's the son of John and
Like John Lennon.
Yoko. Yeah. Yes. Thanks for the clarification, Pam. For all those out there who are confused, he's the son of John Lennon.
Not John the Apostle. He'd be way older than 62.
Guitarist Izzy Stradlin, formerly of Guns N' Roses, is 63 years old today. He's a member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, was inducted with GNR in 2012. Left the band because one of the only reasons you can leave a band, there's two reasons you can leave a band. You do too much drugs or you get sober.
Oh,
Izzy got sober.
gotcha.
Isn't there also a third one?
What is it?
Usually involves a significant other.
Oh, she's thinking of Fleetwood Mac.
I mean, there's a couple.
Artistic
It's a good point.
differences.
It's a good point.
And it served as inspiration for a whole lot of good songs.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. Rounding out FPBs for April the 8th is singer and actor John Schneider, who played Bo Duke on The Dukes of Hazzard.
The blonde one.
The blonde one.
Oh.
65 years old today. There you go. Those are your FPBs. Now we move on to OTDs. On this day, 12 years ago on this day in 2013, Margaret Thatcher died of a stroke at age 87. She was Britain's first female prime minister and served from 79 to 90.
Wow.
25 years ago on this day in the year 2000, Saturday Night Live aired their now classic, More Cowbell skit with Will Ferrell and Christopher Walken.
So good.
Yeah, it's good stuff. More cowbell.
One of the best parts of that was everybody's inability to keep it together during.
I love those skits where like they just break a little. You
Yeah.
can't.
And you can't rein it back in. It's
Right.
so
Yeah.
hard.
The moment was when Will Ferrell's shirt rode up and his belly stuck out, and then he just kept playing the cowbell, and that was when everybody just he couldn't hold it together anymore. So fun.
That's why I appreciate this show so much. is
Yeah.
No one
We
tries
never
to hold
break.
it together.
No.
Never break.
No. You got to lean into it.
You got it.
Really embrace it.
31 years ago on this day in 1994, Nirvana lead singer Kurt Cobain was found dead in his Seattle home as the result of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. 50 years ago on this day in 1975, Aerosmith released their third album, Toys in the Attic, which is, in my opinion, their best,
Yep.
featuring Sweet Emotion and Walk This Way.
50 years ago?
50 years ago.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Also,
Advice.
50 years ago on this day in 1975, The Godfather Part 2 won Best Picture. Francis Ford Coppola won Best Director, and Robert De Niro won Best Supporting Actor for playing the younger version of Vito Corleone. And finally, 51 years ago on this day in 1974, baseball superstar Hank Aaron of the Atlanta Braves broke Babe Ruth's lifetime home run record by hitting his 715th in a game against the LA Dodgers. Hammerin' Hank, still the true home run king. Those are your FPBs and OTDs for April the 8th.
Nice. Whether you want a sit-down meal or a grab-and-go, Pat's Pizza in Auburn offers delicious sandwiches, pasta, salads, and pizza at family-friendly prices. Pat's Pizza, serving the LA area since 1985. Open daily from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. at 85 Center Street in Auburn. Online at patsauburn.com.
Now we shift focus fully to our guest in studio, President and CEO of the Lewiston Auburn Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce.
So many syllables.
So many. There's a lot.
So early for so many syllables.
You've earned every one of them.
Well, thank you.
Shanna
Thank you so
Cox is our guest in studio. How was B2B?
Oh, great.
It was awesome.
Great.
Right?
Yeah, we're sending out a survey this week. We to see how both registrants and vendors, folks who had the booths, experienced the event. And we wanted to wait a minute. So it was our first year organizing and hosting the event. We worked with Travis Dow and Dow Media to take over the event at his suggestion, which was, I think, really generous of him, in all honesty, to make sure that an event that he cared about did well and stayed in this area, things that also felt really important to us. And so we're eager to hear how people experienced it. And we got just really, really positive feedback the day of on the floor and anecdotally afterwards. But part of what we're hearing is that folks have been having the follow-up meetings, and we want to be able to gauge how successful it was. Like, did you get new business out of the trade show? And I think if we had asked people that too quickly, it'd be hard to tell, because we're really hearing a lot of folks had scheduled things last week and that it was leading to new business and new deals. And at the end of the day, that's the goal, right? Is to make sure businesses are meeting each other and are able to do business with each other. So all things really reflect that it looked great.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, we had a good time.
Yeah, we had a blast. We were right next to a rockin' booth of yours, which I really appreciated. Yeah. It's always fun to get a fun neighbor at the trade show.
That's right.
We had a great time.
Did you get over to the Norway booth and do some cash grabs? Did you see their cash?
No, they
did.
tried to get us.
go?
Did you go?
I caught $1 and then I lost it. I don't know what I did with it. I thought I put it in a pocket.
I think I inadvertently ruined a social media grab they were trying to get. So I went in and did it, happy to be recorded. I think I got $13. And then I'm so pre-programmed to not win anything at any event that I'm ever hosting ever, that I immediately, when the air dropped and I also dropped the cash instead of holding it up. So I'm like, I can't win. And they were like, what are you doing? Yeah, I felt bad. So they just have a picture of me trying to grab it because I think I ruined what they were aiming for. But I'm not supposed to win stuff ever. And so I just felt immediately guilty. I was like, take it back. I didn't have anything to do with it. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Great job to you and your staff
Thanks.
for putting that event together, and it was a great time. Looking forward to the next one.
Thank you. Thanks. We're really hopeful that everybody else wants to do it again next year, because I think that's going to be a really important piece of making sure that we do. That's interesting is we had a lot of conversation around foot traffic. I mean, it's not a home show. It's not direct to consumer.
Right.
I don't necessarily think that it's a great event just because you saw 1,000 people through the door and sent 800 of your pen or swag out the door, right? It's about the quality of the people and their desire to do business with other people. And we heard a lot of good feedback that it was a really quality crowd of folks who were interested in making business contacts. And we really tried to focus on that, but you're always curious if that comes across that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think so. I had some really good conversations that day, yeah.
And now we have breakfast to look forward to on Thursday.
This week, it's not a small event either, and we're hosting it at Burnt Ends Barbecue, and they're mixing up our breakfast menu too. So I think you'll see some smoked meat, or you're going to see some fun things on the breakfast buffet.
The last time we did it there, they had a smoked breakfast sausage.
Yeah.
That was so good.
Yeah, I think beans will be back.
Ooh, I like beans.
Some breakfast beans.
Breakfast beans.
We're joined by the CEO of CMP. It's a big topic. It's modernizing our grid both for business growth and for changing climate and weather. So we just see more and more kind of extreme weather events and the impact on losing business, on power being down, and on the cost of recovering from some of those extreme weather events is a driver of business cost and cost for consumers as well. And so we'll be hearing more about their efforts to modernize the grid and to build in some resiliency against some of those weather events. It's so interesting. So I have kids, right? My last one's in senior year this year, but when I was a kid, a snow day meant the day off. And these days you can have a transformer blow and that's the day off, but it's snow day, you still have school and work. And so I think it's just our times have changed where we're so reliant on internet and electricity that's really a driver of, can you swipe the card? Could your business calls connect? Could you join your meeting? And so, I think the importance of electricity just vitally to business, to learning, to school, to commerce. I think it's a really important topic. I'm excited for this one.
I'm excited about this one too, just from my other role in another
Yeah.
in another world.
Yeah. But like it's so impactful, right?
Yes, it
so
is.
yeah, I'm excited.
I actually just meant my job at Lamy Wellahan. Like that's a focus of Jim Wellahan's for a long time
Yeah.
is sustainable energy. And,
Yeah.
we have if you've ever driven by our building here in Auburn, we have solar panels. We're running our building on that, and we're selling what's left over.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's been in it for a long time. So he's in Florida right now, unfortunately, because I think he would have really enjoyed this particular
I think so too.
chamber
Him and I've
breakfast.
talked about that a lot, and he doesn't just been in it; he's been leading it.
He is a leader.
And
Yeah.
you need business leaders' voices to be advocating for building in resiliency or for addressing climate change, because there's always upfront costs.
Yeah.
And so if you're just particularly when you're looking at like policies, state policies, federal policies, if you are only looking at something that can be achieved and noted as achieved within the next 2-year cycle of politics, then the longer term investments that we need, not just for like a better planet and my children, which is nice, but like for modernizing a grid, for example, that takes long term investments. When we even at a like much more local level, when you're looking at the downtowns, for example, of Lewiston and Auburn, and there's a really big project that's coming down the pike for Lowell Street in Lewiston, and former Mayor Jason Levesque has been a huge advocate of burying the utilities. So not only does it make it more attractive, but it makes the power lines more resilient because they're underneath. It creates more usable space for pedestrians, and frankly, because of some really outdated rules, in my opinion, if you were using a stroller or you were in a wheelchair and you tried to navigate the sidewalks in the downtowns of both Lewiston and Auburn in the winter, you would find there are many places where you get halfway down a block and then it ends because there is a utility pole in the middle of the sidewalk. And so it just has really significant impacts on economic development, on walkability, on open space and aesthetic, and the ability to, learn and do commerce. So anyway, Jim's been a great leader of that conversation for a long time.
Yeah. Making policy changes before they were even thought about in our company.
But you have to advocate for the business sense, because otherwise the cycle of investment can be too short for policies.
Looking forward to that, and we have annual awards coming up.
Yeah, there's the nominee in this Who might that be?
I don't know.
I think it might be Pam.
Yep, we're super excited. We announced the nominees last week, but our award winners will be announced this week. So folks should stay tuned to the Facebook of LA Metro Chamber and be on the lookout for who you can congratulate. We're excited. There was a really amazing group of nominees.
It's
always hard
just
this
the
year.
company around that.
You saw it.
Yeah,
I love
it.
that. Of course you did.
To be listed in the group of people that were also nominated was just I was very honored to be part of that. So yeah,
Thanks.
Very thankful.
So our annual awards have changed and adapted a little bit over the years, and I'm obviously excited about our annual awards and the folks that recognize. But what I love is we added the Heart of the Community award a couple of years ago, and that's the one award category in which people can be nominated who are not chamber members, and it just helps surface really incredible work and leadership in our communities across Androscoggin County. And so it was I think like we 18 22 folks who were nominated in alphabetical order, because I think that's the right way to do it.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So
By first name.
yes, by first name. I know, but I think that just feels right, doesn't it?
Sure.
So Elisa Roman from Lewiston Public Schools, Amy Sanchez, Community Critters, Autumn Nichols, Mr. Drew and his Animals Too, Christopher Foss at Central Maine Medical Center, Daniel Hirsch, who owns Ariel Jade, Darby Ray, who is at Bates College and the Harwood Center, Emmanuel Jua from Bangor Savings Bank, Gard Craw at Apple Valley Estates Adult Community, Heather Printup with Poland Spring Natural Spring Water, Jamie Silvestri with Art Van, John Rice, Schooner Estate Senior Living Community, Justin and Sam Juray with Just in Time Recreation, Megan Parks, who is at Safe Voices, Miss Pam Ashby at Lydia Media, Sasha Bernacki, Sasha Lee's Romance Boutique and Intimate Portraits, Scott Riccio, Northeast Charter and Tour Company, Sarah Turner at Lewiston Public Library, and Susan Longchamps with Webb's Market, and then Virginia Keel, former chamber team member who's now doing incredible things at Central Maine Healthcare. We were really excited to see her nominated as well. Yeah. And not mentioned in this post, but there's 2 incredible MCs for this event. You guys might know them a little bit.
Did you get the captain and Celeste?
No.
Wow. That would be a great get.
Keep trying. Keep trying.
Jeez. Did you get, who's on the queue?
Chrissy?
Did you get Chrissy?
It's you guys. Our
They're like,
favorite
what?
MCs.
Oh.
Come on.
Now I'm disappointed.
I can't imagine an annual awards without you.
Good.
Katie and I were just reliving how we used to do annual awards as we took it over. And so my first annual awards was like 10 weeks after I started. So it was it was well underway, planned, tickets sold, sponsors locked in, tables, right? So it was our first year. Like, let's see how this goes. And it ends at 9:00. It was at the Ramada. It was on a Wednesday night or Tuesday night, so it was super late for folks, and people in the back started leaving before the last award was given. Everything about it just felt like not how I wanted people to be honored, right?
Yeah.
And as a parent, I get folks, if you could
Need
sneak
to
out
go,
the back at 9:00, I
Yeah.
understand why they did it. There's no judgment there, but so we really kind of re-envisioned the event during.
That was not your vision for how it should go.
And so our first one at Poland Spring, I emceed because that is how it had always been done, which is not something I usually just swallow. If somebody says, well, that's how I've always done it, I'm
hate
like,
that.
oh, let's question that.
Yeah.
That's a good invitation to reflect in
That's
my
the
mind.
worst answer for anybody.
Yeah. So I went to my peer, Katie Doherty, who is my comparable executive director, president, and CEO at the Kennebec Valley Chamber, and we went to their award events, and she spoke for 3 minutes and then sat down, and I remember looking at Katie and being like, oh, that's the way it's supposed to be done. How do I manage that?
Right.
And so asking you guys to MC was one of the best choices we ever made.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Wow.
I can't wait to see Sarah's dress.
Same. It's her fault for building expectations of fun dresses. She's going to have to keep living up to it each year.
Is the theme still garden party?
I think so, but let me check with Katie, who really runs that particular show. I'm like an invited guest only, I think, when it comes to our annuals. I'll check in with Katie. But we are hosting it indoors at Poland Spring and hoping for the cocktail hour outside in the gazebo beforehand. But so it's May 22nd. Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit earlier than normal. Usually it's in June, late June. But last year even for June, mid-June, it was 110 degree
It was
warnings.
hot and there was a thunderstorm.
So we had to move it in at the last minute. And so this year we just, we're going to plan it that way from the front end.
I ruined my shoes last year.
Yeah, it's hard not to.
My vintage pumps. I ruined them.
I know you have a shortage of shoes, Sarah.
I know.
So I feel very bad.
These were special. These were from Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
Shanna, tell us about the Black Poster Project coming up on April 12th.
Yeah, so that's right this Saturday from 9 to 4, and it's at Pathway Vineyard Church, where we're helping get the word out and support this event. The Black Poster Project is a national project that reflects on the folks that we have lost due to substance use disorder. And so each poster is the likeness of a loved one that has been supported by and donated by a loved one. And so there are these beautiful, it's just a really moving, you kind of walk these aisles of all of these portraits to really reflect on the impact that we have from people that we've lost. And we've talked about substance use disorder many times in many different ways as it relates to workforce, as it relates to community, as it relates to public safety, and in all of the different places that it shows up in our communities. And it's no secret that there's been an opiate epidemic that is just impacting communities across the board. And so this really serves to bring awareness to communities and to I think sometimes when we hear statistics or we hear of someone overdosing, it's really easy to forget that was someone's loved one, that oftentimes that person was a softball coach or a teacher or, just months or a year or two ago, that the addiction that comes from a broken arm and a prescription can take over someone's life so quickly. And so it's an incredible project. There's a great group of people who helped bring it to town. It's supported by the Maine Health Access Foundation, and then Spurwink, Andwell, the city of Lewiston, the city of Auburn, and us are supporters. And it's a way to both honor people and to raise awareness. You can find out more about it at lametrochamber.com under our events section. But yeah, I think it's a really impactful day. I think it's a really, I'm a parent of young adults, as he referred to himself last night at dinner 6 times. I'm like, well, I appreciate you keeping the young in there. You are 20, but young feels right. Yes, though I appreciate that you're an adult. But it's just, for me, I've always looked for ways to teach my kids about things in a way that doesn't feel like lecturing, that you can have an experience that is able to bring up a topic. And this just feels like one of those opportunities. And it's incredible that it's here in Maine. And in Maine, it's incredible that it's here in LA. And so, I encourage people to check that out.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's so scary. Yeah. So
I think people just don't realize, and if you, well, and I talk to a lot of employers who, somebody's out for a hip replacement and they're expected back at work, and then they're back at work. And then a year later, an employer's trying to figure out how to help this person recognize they might have a problem, how to support them. It impacts employers and community. And I think a lot of that gets lost in the, the statistics or the headlines that we read.
Yeah. My son had his wisdom teeth out last summer, and they prescribed him 30 days of hydrocodone.
It feels like a lot for tooth removal.
He didn't use a single one.
Right.
Because we were both terrified.
Yeah.
Both terrified. And ended up bringing that and dropping it off at the Lewiston police station.
And it can happen to anybody.
Like
nobody's...
You're not exempt due
from
to
that,
your family status or your economic status or anything. Like, that's a prescription medication for an actual procedure.
Yeah.
And it could have gone very sideways very quickly for a 19-year-old boy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and, our biology, some folks are more likely to be addicted or to get addicted. And so, when I'm looking at four young adult men at my house who are my children, and the notion of, like, statistically, what one of them, just one at least, is likely to fall to that pretty quickly, given the wrong kind of entryway. And
that's a perfectly legal entry point too.
Yeah. It's not back alley crazy stuff.
It's not what people think.
Although sometimes it ends up there, right?
Right.
Like that's seldom where it starts.
That's where it starts, but that's what you're saying is that's not always where it ends.
Yeah. Check out the Black Poster Project.
It looks
Pathway Vineyard Church this Saturday.
Their website too, theblackposterproject.com is really cool.
You can get a sense of it. Yeah. It's really beautiful.
They go all over the country.
Yeah, no, it's a national project that a lot of folks worked really hard to bring here, and we're fortunate to be able to host.
It's beautiful.
We're going to have 2 of your young adults on the show on May 20th.
Oh, good. They booked.
Yes,
they booked.
Yeah. Have to get them a weed whacker.
They've got it. They've had a busy couple of weeks procuring making capital investments is what I would call it.
That's great.
They mentioned it at the B2B, and I have an extra weed whacker.
They
I was like, come and pick it up.
They have a 0-turn mower. Yeah, I have.
Wow.
Yeah.
They don't need my little weed whacker.
Yeah. No, the fun part is when you're doing a good job parenting, I think it bites you in the butt. And so, I was finding myself doing business advising sessions for 2 of my boys who started D&D landscaping. And one of them has been doing greenhouse work and lawn care and yard care for 4 years. The other one is a roofer, has done a ton of labor and does, landscaping as well. And so, they decided to start a business. And from the time they decided they started a business until the time they were announced, it was like the time frame was so short, and it was a push at work. It was the 2 weeks preceding the trade show, and so I find myself it was a lot like work, just like when I'm clocked in at work, where I'm getting like business advice questions or how do I double check my pricing list, Mom, at like 6:45 in the morning or 9:30 at night while I'm eating a very late dinner after a 14-hour. Finally, I was like, guys, I love you. If you want
make an appointment,
yes. And so we finally scheduled, and we did a nice 2.5-hour block and got them all tuned up. But
I had
thanks for supporting them.
Yes, I sent them out to the car to get their business cards. I was like, you get out there and you get those business cards. You bring them back in here. Yeah. The B2B Trade Show.
Those boys. Yeah.
What are you guys doing?
They're doing great. But they're in the thing, this is the story of almost all small businesses that I've ever come into contact with. you start the business because you love the thing that the business does,
right.
the service or the product or the innovation or whatever it is that gets you jazzed. And you don't start the business because you also love bookkeeping and marketing and business, financial projections. Like no one's like, when I love the
Right.
full suite of business activities I get to do. No, you get into it because you love the publishing. You love the result of the magazine
Right.
and not because you like all of the other stuff.
The thousand other things you have to
And
do.
that's where the learning is, right? Like it is always the place that you need to build the skills is not the core service or product. It's all of the surrounding kind of business.
Yeah, sure.
So, yep, they're right on par for every other small business I've ever seen. They're doing great.
We're
I'm
looking
really
forward
proud
to
of
it.
them.
Looking forward to having
It'll be
them
nice
in.
to have them.
They're pumped. I hear about you guys, 3 times a week.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Aw,
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
guys.
It's below average,
Big
but
fans.
we'll take it.
That's cute.
Yeah. It might be more about my presence at the house. It's been a busy couple of weeks.
What a great resource, though, to have you living
yeah.
there.
They think so. They think it's awesome.
All right, Shanna, anything else going on at the chamber that we should know about?
We're gearing up for some of our summer stuff. My team was at City Council in Lewiston for folks might not know this, but for a lot of the festivals that you attend in Lewiston or Auburn, there's usually a point at which they have to go in front of City Council in the city that they're being held. And so we just did that last week for Taste the Harvest, which feels like maybe a lifetime away because we host it in October, but we're already gearing up for that event, and that's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's event season. So we've got the Uplift Kickball Tournament coming in July. So yeah, are you guys putting together a team?
Yeah.
It's always a lot of fun.
gosh, okay.
It's a really good day. And so
This will be our third year.
yeah.
man.
First year was a little rough, and last year we came in second.
Yeah.
So-
Well done.
You
well
don't
done.
want me on your kickball team.
I said you could be our manager.
Oh, that's right.
That's how I participated in band in high school. That's where they put people who aren't good at the thing, Sarah, just in case you want me to break that down for you.
How close are the paramedics to the field?
Usually right around. Right around
good,
the field. Right around the field. Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
to
So,
know.
it's just, we're in planning mode for all of the big stuff and the fun stuff that's coming. Annual awards being the next, but it's, it's one a month for us from here on out.
It's never ending.
Yeah. Pretty soon we'll be talking about Stuff the Bus. So
That's right.
that's
That's right.
it goes quick. It goes quick at this
know.
point. It goes quick at this point. Yeah.
Locally owned and locally focused, Lydia Media celebrates the heart of the greater Lewiston, Auburn area through 2 magazines, Uncle Andy's Digest and LA Metro Magazine, and the new Lydia's Lunch Bunch podcast. Each production shines a positive light on local businesses, nonprofits, events, and individuals making a difference in our community. Keep your advertising dollars local and position your business in front of your target audience with Lydia Media. Learn more at lydiamediallc.com. All right, Shanna, you ready for 3 random questions?
Oh, as ready as I can be.
We are approaching the finish line. Here we go with question 1. What do you wish was a subject taught in school that currently isn't?
Well, maybe there's schools that teach. So this is a hot take, and feel free to be upset about it, listeners. I'd like to go back to handwriting in cursive.
Yes.
And I'd like to see that a little more consistently for 2 reasons. One is, and people will say this, and it is true, a lot of historical documents are written in cursive. And so the ability to understand and read it firsthand, when I say that it's like reading a foreign language for some kids today, it truly is. I'll write notes in cursive to my boys, and it is not a good way to make sure the trash goes out because they can't read it. So that's like my most selfish reason.
Yep.
But I was actually just listening to this really great kind of information podcast and focusing on handwriting, cursive or otherwise, in early formative years helps create neural pathways that are key for learning later. And we've started to really skip that over. And I firmly believe it's not like you should do handwriting at the cost of typing or computer literacy. It's got to be a both. And I think as we've gotten more into technology, and I'm a big fan of technology, I appreciate the innovations that come from technology, and there is something that we lose around the connection between like motor skills and brain pathways. So like I would also say music, but you only gave me one. But there's very real cognitive benefits to the way we use our body when we're learning, and the more kind of industrialized our education system has gotten in the U.S., the less likely we are to move while we're learning. And it has deep impacts, not just to the thing you're learning while you're sitting, but your ability to learn all the other things that come later. And so handwriting in cursive.
All right.
Yeah.
I like that one. I have to read letters from my mother and my grandmother to my son because he can't read the cursive.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does it say? It says happy birthday.
Yeah. I mean, Constitution. It's in cursive.
It's in cursive.
Yeah. Some important documents out
Yeah.
there.
This is for Alex. You need to teach him.
I know, yeah.
Our generation is lost.
We have, because when he played basketball, we bought him a basketball, and Kevin was like, well, you got to autograph the basketball.
Oh.
So he was like, autograph. And so we taught him how to write his name in cursive
Yeah.
so he could autograph.
Because otherwise signatures are block script for kids these days.
That's the only thing my son can write in
for
cursive
kids
is
these
his
days.
name.
Now I sound 90.
Kids
Can't believe
these
I just was,
days.
for kids these days. Oof. Oof. Okay, boomer. Carry on.
You want to go? Or you want me to go? All right.
What is the worst fashion decision you've ever made?
Ugh. Hammer pants.
Oh,
you love hammer pants, Pam.
Listen,
we were just talking about hammer
you
pants.
can
Did
get
you
away
listen
with
to this
it.
episode?
This body type and hammer pants. No good.
No.
And likewise, whenever anybody is having I get invited to a lot of galas and foundations and fundraisers and stop it with the Great Gatsby theme, guys, because a dropped waist is awful on me. Every time it's like a 1920s theme, I'm like, no, give me an Empire waist. Bring back the Victorian era. Anyway, so MC Hammer pants.
All right.
Yeah. I would have gone with perm. I got a perm once.
Was it good?
Bad. It was so bad. Not good.
Is that's fashion, I guess?
That's what I was wondering, because if so, I would have said the claw.
Oh, yeah.
So the hair claw,
claw.
Early 90s.
Yep.
You
The
had
wall
bangs
of
that came
bang.
down to your chin, and then you boosted it with
Aquanet. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so I've got a couple winning school photos that would.
Yeah.
I'm sticking to MC Hammer pants though.
I like it. It's a good answer. Mm-hmm. We know you have long days.
I do.
So, what is your go-to cocktail after a particularly long and difficult day?
Can I answer that?
Yeah, I was like, there's 3 bars. It is not a tightly held secret. Go ahead,
Dirty blue.
Yeah, it's a dirty blue.
What's
Give
that?
me a Tito's dirty martini. Bonus points if you can have blue cheese stuffed olives.
Yep. When are we going to Fishbones for this dirty blue?
What's today look like for you? Yeah. I love a good. It's clean. It's hard to mess up.
Dirty blue.
You really only need one, and your day's been reset.
One and done.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay. I have to try it sometime. I've never had a martini.
I cringed at martinis back in the day, and then I don't know when it changed for me, but
Well,
it's like
the
it's
first
a
time
balm to your soul.
First time I had one, it was like gasoline, so I stayed
yeah.
away from them for a really long time. And then someone made me a good one, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah,
Alright.
you got to shake it really.
shake it, and you can't have too much vermouth. Just swirl the glass and dump it out, and that's all you need.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
A whisper.
A whisper.
It's a whisper.
Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Where can folks go to learn more about the chamber?
Well, so the LAMetroChamber.com is our main website. But a site that I would lift up for folks is DiscoverLAMaine.com, which is not chamber specific, but has really great information about this whole area. So a little bit of both. But if you go to LAMetroChamber.com, you'll see all of our co-branded sites at the top.
All right.
Yeah, we do more than I can talk about.
Thanks to Shanna Cox, our guest for today, and also thanks to our sponsors, Ruper's Beverage and Redemption and United Piping. And if you'd like to be part of the Lydia's Lunch Bunch advertising family, reach out to Pam via email at pam@lydiamediallc.com.
Have a great day. And remember, don't bite your cat.